sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to B-Ball Breakdown. Don't miss our halftime and post-game show coming up tomorrow during Game 2. It promises to have the kind of analysis you don't see anywhere else. Well, let's talk a little bit about Game 1. The Heat did a pretty good job on defense, holding the Spurs to 92 points. However, the Spurs got a lot of great looks, so they missed. And I don't suspect that if they continue to run their offense like they are, they're going to miss a lot more of those. Here's what we have to look at: the Miami Heat offense. Go to our bballbreakdown.com and check out our companion article, which has a whole analysis on the Heat offense in the half court and what's running and what's working, because I think they're throwing away too many possessions without getting great shots, and it's a lot to do with what they simply run on offense. It's a problem. We've shown it all season long, and I don't know if it's going to fix itself in the finals. The Spurs normally save their best play, the loop, for the second half, but they weren't screwing around and broke it out to start. Watch Tony Parker go around the world, turn the corner, and get the floater past Bosh. Here's some good pinch post action by the Heat. We saw this get a layup for Wade in Game 7, and this time it gets Wade good position to post. They never ran this play again. The Heat went to their usual 5-out set, spreading 4 players on the perimeter with 0 movement and 1 wandering ball screener. You can see how easy it is for the Spurs to form a shell around the paint without any weak side movement, and it leaves Bosh to shoot a contested 3. Can you hear me shaking my head? I really hate this 5-out set because it relies solely on an individual's ability to create a shot. No cutters, no weak side screens. In my opinion, it's lazy offense that generates ridiculously tough shots like this. Let's look at the results of the Heat's 5-man out set. They ran this the most of any offensive set by far, and the results weren't too bad. A relatively efficient 1.03 points per possession. However, of their last 9 5-man out sets, they did not score a single field goal on any of them, getting 5 free throws for a paltry 0.56 points per possession. It's hard to argue that this is a viable set worthy of running 35% of the time, when by the end of the third quarter, they looked exhausted. This possession was particularly bad, as no one seems interested in having to force the issue to get an open shot. Meanwhile, the Heat ran horns more often than usual, and at least there was enough movement to get guys like Bosh into comfort zones for shots he's used to making. The difference in movement and cutting between horns and 5-out is startling, and it should be no surprise horns creates many more openings and easy shots. Somehow this set was less efficient than 5-out in Game 1, but it did provide them with a crucial LeBron James layup in the last 2 minutes of the game, and has proven to be a key weapon to get LeBron James going on the high post. The Heat did show a willingness to post up LeBron James 9 times, but watch how he gives up deep post position off this cut by not seizing control of the left block. Instead, he allows his momentum to carry him 22 feet from the hoop. The Spurs double team from the baseline, Manu is freelancing here, and Wade cannot get it in the lane and throws up this awful shot. And notice the terrible weak side spacing between all the Heat players, allowing plenty of help from the Spurs defense without fear of giving up anything open. Contrast that with the Spurs offense, and it's surprising the Heat were up for much of this game. Parker and Duncan execute pinch post to perfection as Parker gets the ball back for the floater. And we've shown you how the Spurs love to back screen on the weak side for threes. Look how Wade has completely turned his head and lost sight of Danny Green for the split second he needs to nail one of his 4 threes. What's most impressive to me is how the Spurs offense flows. When they run the loop and encounter terrific pursuit by the Heat defense, they break right into a triangle offense style post-up, send the cutters through, and let Duncan go to work, where he was very effective all night. With the over-aggressive Heat defense, their weak spot is the roll man, and the Spurs are the very best in the business at hitting him. Tony Parker fools Battier with a look towards Kawhi in the corner before firing the pass to Duncan for the layup. Beautiful. And the Spurs ran a little wrinkle with a double staggered weak side screen for Tony Parker. And this flows right into horns. A nice little surprise. Parker gets a screen from the elbow and attacks. Chalmers gets lost on this action, and the Spurs make him pay when Parker gets open in the corner and blows by Chalmers' weak attempt at a closeout. Let's move to the crucial events of the fourth quarter. In what is arguably the absolute best play the Heat have, LeBron gets the weak side screen and flashes to the free throw line. This triggers a back screen by Bosh for Ray Allen, and when Duncan pays a little too much attention to Allen cutting, Bosh gets enough room to knock down the jumper. This was the only time they ran this play all game. I'm shaking my head even louder. The Spurs come down and run the loop for Manu this time. Watch how LeBron and Wade switch on the last down screen. Because Wade doesn't fight through this hard enough, it becomes important later. On the pick and roll, Neal takes the shot, and watch how Wade's attempt at boxing out Kawhi Leonard just isn't going to cut it. The Heat revert to their 5-out set with one guy at a time probing to see what they can get. LeBron gets stuck at a bad angle to feed the post, and Kawhi's long arms just take the ball away. This provides us with the first of two amazing highlights by Tony Parker in the fourth quarter. Having LeBron screen for Ray Allen on the weak side is also a great idea since the focus will be on LeBron and gets Ray free throws. The Heat ran this a grand total of 4 times, getting a healthy 5 points from it. This is where the 5-out play really fails the Heat. In the fourth quarter of a tight game down by 4, you need a great shot. This offense will not get it for you. What's worse, Wade throws a terrible pass to Chalmers and leaves him with nothing to do and the shot clock winding down. The fact that Wade is upset with Chalmers is outrageous. The Heat go back to Horns and run a nice little high post exchange that gets a switch of Duncan onto LeBron. While he travels on his way to the hoop, there's no call and he hits a nice lefty layup. The Spurs come down, run a simple pick and roll knowing the weak side defender has to rotate to the roll man. Manu fires a perfect pass to Green and Miller is way too slow closing out. This was a dagger. And after the LeBron turnover earlier, he makes another mistake out of 5-out by kicking it to Bosh for a 3. He has a lane to go right at Duncan, whom he had scored on earlier. Bosh is also at fault for spotting up from there. He should be moving in and getting along too. And most impressively, after 2 free throws by LeBron, the Spurs do not call timeout. They break right into Horns, set 2 ball screens, and get exactly what they want. Bosh on Parker. He tries to go at him, loses his balance, almost the ball, and then hits the most improbable buzzer-beating shot. This may very well go down as Tony Parker's NBA Finals moment. So there you have it, sports fans. I believe that the play calling is holding the Heat back. You can't afford to waste any possessions, and that's what they're doing. I know that 5-out did okay for them in this game, but down the stretch they didn't get any buckets from it. And yet they also turned the ball over, didn't get people in positions to score easily, and against the Spurs, it's going to be a recipe for disaster. Meanwhile, the Spurs got a lot of open shots they missed, so the Heat should be very concerned. They did hold the Spurs down to a pretty reasonable amount of points in 92, but you have to imagine they're going to hit a few more of those threes that were wide open. If that happens, then look out. So I believe that they need to flip it, stop playing 5-out so much, do Horns even more, post up LeBron even more. He should be getting 14, 15 post-ups. Clean up all that weak side spacing issue on the post-up for LeBron because it's awful. And if they can do that, they'll get better shots, and I believe that's going to be the difference in the series. Well, stay tuned for our post-game and halftime show on Sunday. It should be another great game too, and don't miss our more coverage coming up throughout the finals and throughout the summer because at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You win,